your lawyer with you? What?
ACT, you see this?
Look, if it ain't official Dana J, Levi for Kelly, Primadonnanews, I don't even want to see it. Just take the time. Look, you got some weed? Dang. I gotta get some. All right, hurry up. Diesel and them here, everybody here, we waiting on you. All right.
I woke up like this. I woke up like this. We flawless.
Another day, another scandal for Black Lives Matter. One of their radical activists, ready? Been charged with trying to assassinate a man named Greg Greenberg, a Democrat running for mayor in Louisville, Kentucky. Of course, the left jumped at the chance to blame the attack on Republicans. A former Biden campaign staffer tweeting, "Insane. Lunatic attempts to assassinate Louisville mayoral candidate. This is what conspiratorial right-wing rhetoric and guns everywhere gets us." I'm afraid this is going to get much, much worse. But of course, the shooter wasn't a right-wing lunatic. He was a left-wing lunatic. Quintez Brown is a cop-hating anti-gun activist who actually appeared on Joy Reid's show in 2018 to talk about guns. Listen.
We want common sense gun reform. And if you're not going to give us that, then we're going to get everyone out here to vote, and we're going to vote you out of office. So if you want to keep your job, then, give us not what we want, but what we need.
But that's not all. He posed with Al Sharpton at an event. I take pictures with people too, so you never know. But Obama, his foundation, called this shooter a rising face in 2018. They can really pick him. And if you thought a little assassination attempt would cause BLM to cut ties with Brown, you'd be wrong. BLM Louisville sprung 100 G's in bail money to get him out. Why didn't they just pull that money from BLM's headquarters? They have like 60 mil lying around, right? Oh, I'm sorry. It's still missing. But we have some good news. Black Lives Matter has teamed up with a group of people who are great at working with shady cash. The Clintons. Minion Moore, a longtime ally and confidant of Bill and Hillary, has been placed on BLM's board of directors to oversee the missing money. But that's not all. They've called in the fixer.
You're Jimmy, right? This is your house?
Sure is.
I'm Winston Wolf. I solve problems.
Good, we got one.
So I heard.
The Wolf himself, Crooked Hillary's top election lawyer, one of the Democrats' dirtiest dirty tricksters, Mark Elias. According to the Washington Examiner, a filing this month states BLM's books are in the care of the organization that's located at the address of the Elias Law Group. And it's not just that one filing. Multiple BLM reports list his firm as one of their addressers. So, who exactly is Mark Elias? Here's a reminder. Hillary's top election lawyer, the same guy who pushed the Russia hoax and was involved in the dossier, saying the Russians hacked the DNC server but wouldn't let the FBI see it. He's worked to undermine elections by pushing for election laws to be loosened right before the 2020 elections. He's deeply tied into Soros money, making millions off Democrat gerrymandering, trying to redraw districts. He knows how to squirm, lie, and get what he wants by any means necessary. So he'll fit right in at BLM.
It doesn't take a genius to process all the information that I've brought to you, and how even if you reflect back on other people's scandals, including the Clintons, it should be obvious how that story came to the public forefront, even though the individual Monica Lewinsky wasn't the person driving the narrative. Yet people who live in the real world are very aware of the fact that individuals who have certain political connections and can get backed by certain billionaires financing their political motivations are constantly given the platforms to push their agendas, and nobody ever stops to look at the overall corruption as certain individuals gravitate towards pushing their opinions. Now, of course, with every good movement, there's going to be some corruption in the midst. And that is what I have brought to my platform when I recognized what I was seeing playing out and decided to screenshot everything so that I could bring it back to you and prove my theory that I brought to you long ago and how I believe these platforms were being used to violate individuals' rights and push these criminal charges using these so-called bad act witnesses to facilitate the narratives. Meanwhile, everybody wants to talk about everything but the facts and how even in these latest motions that have been dropped in Robert Kelly's case, it reveals everything I've shown you and the clear corruption of all these people involved in the case and even his defense attorneys being included in so much janky ass behavior. It should be no surprise why this man did not get the effective counsel he deserved. Even more clear why his attorney is having to fight back and forth with trying to defend this man against his pending trial while these individuals push so hard to have him sentenced, when if they're so confident in this conviction they've garnered, why lie on the witnesses? It's clear most of these people did not want to be involved in this case, yet they were coerced into doing so when all of the fraudulent activity they were engaging in was pushed under the rug. It's also clear they're tired of being exploited by all these narratives put out here by individuals being used by the government, while most of these individuals are still sitting out here without a pot to piss in while they've gotten all this national spotlight. So to conclude this video, just like we watch Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movement be hijacked by other political agendas, we watch this defense team be corrupted by so many outside voices that I feel should be held accountable for interfering with this open investigation just as equally as these janky ass prosecutors, attorneys, and other individuals who were used to push these janky ass agendas and violate people's civil rights, including any deceased individual or any person who hasn't publicly shared their story. As the government turns a blind eye to the coercion tactics being used to get these people to cooperate and avoid accountability. Clearly, we have seen so many attempts to get this man to incriminate himself, which has failed, and now we still see the same thing going on as he fight for his appeal and a new trial.
In all honesty, I said, fuck it. Like, fuck it. I'm not doing it again. Leave me alone. And it was like, okay, well, if you don't, participate and, testify in this trial, then you don't have to. And I was like, okay. I'm sorry. They said if I don't want to, I don't have to. And I say, okay, good. It's like, but, however, you will be subpoenaed. And if you're subpoenaed, you have to show up. And if you don't show up, then you get arrested.
Congratulations. You just got him a wife for life. People like Me Too movement who played the role to get a part of a goddamn TV series to be their name affiliated with it, and I ain't get a phone call. Even that shit from Tanya Burks. So let's stop making people false heroes. And I'm not saying that about anybody because, not the nation, because I know Minister Farrakhan, he definitely spoke. I think he had a private meeting with him. Nobody really know what the depths of the meeting went, but I know he did have a meeting with him. But these other ones that was a part of Lifetime and all this shit, we need them. We need them to step up and them to act like they plan a platform. All we doing is playing on each other as black people. That's it. For fame and fortune. That's it. I want to say this, Lo, and I don't mean to cut you off. I got to say this. I got to say it. I see who Tasha Unwind on here. I see you a good person. I want to see all these other bloggers that's on here.
Look, Angelo couldn't even keep a straight face with that shit.
I want you to take what I'm going to say to you right now. Right now. You got a big platform. I really need for you to hear me clearly. I need everyone who said what happened on that Lifetime documentary, hold them accountable. Hold Lifetime accountable. Hold Blue and Mary accountable. Hold these people accountable to make sure these people can go on Lifetime and say what they said happened. Hold these people accountable. Make sure they talk to Kim Fox. Make sure they talk to Carl Howard. Make sure they talk to Homeland Security. Make sure they talk to the FBI. These people are waiting on to hear from you. From my knowledge, some of them have not heard from you. And if you haven't talked to them, well, shame on you.
All of this, you're going to see this in future testimony, but Azrael knows where everything is. When I say the tape, she knows who's who. She knows where the bank accounts are, where the money is. She knows who's using who. Not seen what we've been trying to show you, that you've been brainwashed. But once she watched that documentary and she read the emails that I sent over to her, that he was sending to Joycelyn, telling Joycelyn the same things that he told her, hiding other tapes for Azrael, just like London on the Track's mom was doing, Cheryl, I forgot her last name, Cheryl Mack or whatever. And so I'm trying to tell you without telling you too much, because like I said, this is a federal case, and I've even helped out the feds with all the information that I've been given. So I was working with the Department, was it the Department of State? Homeland Security, one of them damn please. Homeland Security, my lawyers were to hand them over everything that we had received.
Yeah, I talked to Angela now. You gotta get rid of Mason, and you have to get rid of this public, because they are working with Avenatti. This was a whole, like, this Zelle Pay thing. They knew about this from like weeks ago, like they've been planning this. I know you don't probably want to listen to me, but please, you cannot let him do this interview on Monday. Like, all this stuff is a plan to just like rip you apart and make shit worse.
Cannot let who do an interview?
This Darryl Johnson guy. The guy who's supposed to be like the publicist or whatever.
Rip me apart how?
Get you away?
Rip me apart how?
Like, it's just all things. Like, I don't know.
No. Just be specific. Be specific. Rip me apart how?
I don't know the how.
Okay, I want you to find out. I want you to find out how and let me know.
And when I drop the videos, the pictures, the paperwork, for him to get on live to say that Azrael is not right in R. Kelly, really? Now, I gave him R. Kelly's jail records. Ask him how he got R. Kelly's jail records. Ask him how I got the emails between Azrael and R. Kelly. So you mean to tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about?
The article state that the other person was in trouble. It did not. It did not. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. You think we don't know? And I'm not saying that they can't pull no shit, but what I'm saying is I'm talking about the article at hand. There was a reason why the article didn't say what it said. And for people to make all these assumptions and oh boy, to be a lawyer, you should know. If the feds got something, they ain't gonna announce it. They already got it. And if they gonna do something with it, they gonna do something with it. Ain't gonna be no reporter letting people know ahead of time what's going on. When you hear Fed investigation, everybody know that. Guess what? You hear after they've made arrests, okay? You hear after that.
Government failed to prove the racketeering charge, as well as the other 8 counts in the indictment. Now, Kelly also faces a federal trial in Chicago. Kelly's new lawyer filed the notice of motion for a new trial, claiming Kelly was denied effective assistance of counsel during jury selection, and alleges that Kelly's former counsel was engaged in a conflict of interest involving one of the prosecution witnesses, known as Jane. Now, in a subsequent hearing, the court concluded that the lawyer had an attorney-client relationship with Jane while representing Kelly. Kelly had earlier waived the conflict of interest, although the motion alleges this was an unwaivable conflict.
Get the bag. Get the bag. Y'all niggas know what it is. You know we get the bag. Get the bag, the bag. And you know we get the bag, the bag, the bag. And you know I gets the bag, the bag, the bag. We get the bag, the bag, the bag. Too big. Look at the whip. Look at the whip. Check out the wrist. Check out the wrist. Walk in the club. Walk in the club. Already lit. Already lit. Got niggas on wait. Hold up. Hold up. Got bitches on go.